Good morning, children. Today in class 11 English, the summer of the beautiful white horse is what we are going to take up. We talked about yesterday of how Murad and Aram enjoy a ride early in the morning. They hide the horse in the barn of farmer Fitvigian, and before everybody is awake, they go and hide it over there also. Murad, of course, had already learned to ride the horse, but poor Aram, every time he tried to sit on the horse, he was thrown off. So, yet he was very confident and he was very hopeful that someday he will be able to ride the horse just as Murad was able to ride properly. Now, as they were after 2 weeks, unfortunately, one particular morning, they were going to hide the horse, or rather keep the horse in the barn, but John Byro met them. Now, Murad, being older and clever, he asked Aram not to say anything because he would be able to handle the situation in a better way, as he stated that he had a way with a farmer. So, he greeted him, and in response to that, "Good morning, son of my friends," he said. That was the response of John Byro, the farmer, the actual owner of the white horse. "What is the name of your horse?" Now, he obviously, that was his horse, so there's something that he wished to know, or rather some more details that he wished to know about it also. "My heart," my cousin Murad said in Armenian. So, Murad let him know that their horse was named My Heart. "A lovely name," John Byro said, "for a lovely horse. I could swear it is a horse that was stolen from me many weeks ago. May I look into his mouth?" Now, so when John Byro came to know that the name of the horse was My Heart, he thought that that was a very befitting name given to it for a beautiful horse, for a lovely horse. "I could swear it is the horse that was stolen from me many weeks ago." Now, naturally, your own pet and one is able to identify. So, likewise, out here also, the moment he looked at the horse, he felt that that was his. And he says, "I could swear." That means that he was so sure that it was a vow that he could take that that horse, which had been stolen from him weeks ago, was his, which the two boys had with them today. So he took permission to look at it more minutely. "Of course," Murad said. The farmer looked into the mouth of the horse. He wanted to be very sure. So he looked at it, examined it minutely. "Tooth for tooth," he said. I would swear it is my horse, if I did not know your parents. The fame of your family for honesty is well known to me. Yet the horse is a twin of my horse. A suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart. Good day, my young friends." So, naturally, he was very eager to know more about the horse. So, he examined it very carefully after he had taken permission from Murad to do so. And he says, "I would swear if I did not know your parents." What could he swear? That he could vow, that he could promise, that he was so sure of himself that if he had not known his parents, Murad's parents and John Byro were good friends. And he was also aware, he says further on, that the fame of your family, that the reputation of the Garoglenian tribe is of honesty and trust. And it is well known to me that he was so sure and he was so much aware of the fact also. And therefore, he made no accusation. He did not accuse that the boys had stolen his horse. And so what John Byro says, that if he had not been acquainted, if he was not friendly with his parents, he probably would be so sure that that was his horse. He says, "Yes, yet the horse is a twin of my horse." That means identical. A suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart. Good day, my young friends. A good suspicious man, that means that he was aware of the reputation of the family, that they were extremely truthful and they were very honest. And Murad's parents and John Byro were very friendly with each other. And it was well known. And John Barrow was also aware of their honesty and their truthfulness. So he saw his horse right in front of him, but he went by he trusted his heart more. Why? Because he could not believe that anybody in the tribe could do something wrong, like steal the horse in his case. Good day, my young friends. So he just walked away from there and wished them a good day. Good day, John Byro, my cousin Murad said. So that was the interaction between John Byro and John Byro and Murad, because Aram was already told to be quiet. Early the following morning, we took the horse to John Byro's vineyard and put it in the barn. Now, obviously, they did not want that because of their deed. Murad had stolen that horse, and Aram also had tried to take a ride on the horse for a couple of days. So they did not want that because of them that the reputation of their tribe is endangered. So next morning, before people woke up, they took the horse and kept it in the barn of John Byro. The dogs followed us around without making a sound. Now, as they were proceeding towards the barn, the dogs around, they followed them, but they did not bark. The dogs, I whispered to my cousin Murad. I thought they would bark. So Aram shared with Murad that the dogs were following them early in the morning, and he felt that if the dogs had barked, the secret would be out and everyone would come to know about it, but the dogs did not bark. To this, Murad what he had to say was, they would at anybody else. He said, I have a way with dogs. So what he meant to say was, just as he has a way with the horses, with farmers, with birds, likewise he also has a way, an understanding with the dogs, and dogs can sense animal lover, and both of them seem to love the animals very much. They love the horse, so the dogs did not bark. So very quietly and stealthily they kept the horse in the barn and they returned home. My cousin Murad put his arms around the horse, pressed his nose into the horse's nose, patted it, and then we went away. So that was a very touching moment for Murad. He had come to love the horse so much. So he patted it, and then they proceeded home. They went back to their own homes. That afternoon, John Byro came to our house in his surrey and showed my mother the horse that had been stolen and returned. And now, earlier, John Byro had visited Aram's place to share his grievances and his miseries and his suffering on account of the loss of his horse. Now, today he came in a different state altogether. He was so excited, he was so delighted. So, John Byro came to our house in his surrey, that is the carriage pulled by the horse, and showed my mother the horse that had been stolen and returned. And what he had come here to boast of? He had come here to show to Aram's mother that the horse which he had talked about earlier, that it had finally been returned, and that he was extremely happy because he was able to use his carriage now. I do not know what to think, he said. That he was contemplating. He really did not know in what manner should his thought process go, he said. Why? Because naturally he felt very miserable when his horse was lost, but now that it has been returned, he is happy. Why? Now he says, the horse is stronger than ever. That meant that the horse has been looked after very well. If you remember that in the barn where the horse used to be kept by Murad, it used to be fed properly. It had been exercised properly. So he is glad the horse is in a better state of health, is stronger and well looked after, better tempered too. Murad had initially he had a difficulty in taming the horse because it was wild, but over the time, gradually he had come to tame it and it had become very obedient. So the horse had been returned in a stronger state and better tempered, better behaved also, and more obedient as well. So because it had been tamed by Murad. I thank God, he said, that he is grateful to God. He expressed his gratitude that finally the horse has been returned to him. My uncle Khosrow, who was also there, who was present over there, who was in the parlour, became irritated and shouted. And as was the usual response of Uncle Khosrow, he was short-tempered and he shouted, and what he stated was his standard usual response to every situation: quiet man, quiet. That says, now stop talking, there's no need for you to speak any further. Your horse has been returned, pay no attention to it. That meant that earlier he was grumbling about his horse which was stolen. Now his horse has been returned. So he says the matter ends over here. That is, pay no attention to it. Don't bother a bit about it now, since you have got your horse back. Thank you.